I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
How many times have we heard and told each other that good Black don't crack? Well, we hear that a lot. We grow up hearing it, but we also hear don't stay out of the sun because you'll get too dark. We hear a lot of things about our skincare. And today I am so excited because we have a guest, Dr. Beal, who is one of the people who put together our AbsoluteJOI. And this is what I use. I'll show you the logo and everything. Skincare. And she's going to tell us about Black skincare from our children to our adults. And we're just going to find out so much on how to take care of ourselves so that good Black won't crack. All right, let's bring in everybody. Are we ready?
Absolutely.
Hi, Dr. Ann.
Hi, Dr.
Hello, how are you?
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about your company first.
Sure. So that's usually the first question. People are like, so how did you end up doing a skincare line? So I've always been a skincare junkie, just, like to take care of myself, take care of my skin. And when I was in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, wanted to try to improve my skincare, but discovered that actually a lot of the products really weren't working for me. I was breaking out, I was getting hyperpigmentation, and it really wasn't having the kind of reaction that I wanted. So I actually started to make products for myself at home, and it was just like for fun. But then a friend, another mom, said to me, hey, I know this store where you can go and buy ingredients for DIY skincare. And actually, I was living in France at the time when I had this conversation. And so I walked into the store and I found that it was filled with Black and brown women, just like me, making products for themselves. And so that made me say, I think there's something going on here where it's not just me who's having problems with my skin, but that this is something much broader. So then I started to do a little bit of research. And what I found is that, first of all, I know that from my own clinical practice that many of us have issues with skin sensitivities, but I didn't know how much more common it is. So in fact, Black women, 60% of us have sensitive skin as compared to only 35% of the general population. So products that we need for anti-aging and for taking care of our skin really have to be incredibly different. Also, I knew from my own experience that while there's a lot of focus on fine lines and wrinkles, and we all say Black don't crack, but Black does sag, does get marks, does get dull. And so I knew that a lot of the products really weren't addressing what my concerns were in terms of anti-aging, and they really weren't about wrinkles. It was really about the more subtle skin changes that I was seeing. And then for me, the last thing was there was a study actually that came out of the Environmental Working Group that said over 75% of products marketed to Black women contain potentially toxic ingredients. And so for me, that set off a lot of alarms because a lot of these ingredients include chemicals that are hormone disruptors. And I know from my research in health disparities that Black women have more issues with evidence of excess estrogen. We have more uterine fibroids. We have issues with endometriosis. Breast cancer is a much more aggressive disease among us. And so for me, it was kind of like it set off alarms because I realized if we're using a lot of these products and they're much more likely to have these chemicals, and we're showing manifestations in terms of our health of excess estrogen, why not have clean beauty? And why not have a non-toxic lifestyle? And why not have products that we know are really good for us and good for our bodies, but also are effective? So it was an interest that was born both from a medical desire as well as from an aesthetic desire.
And can I just interrupt to let our audience know that Dr. Beal is not like Dr. Phil. She's actually a doctor. She was my daughter's first pediatrician. I cried like a baby when she left. And, and we all know that Black babies do much better with Black physicians. And I got to tell you, Dr. Bill, you used to tease me because my baby looked just like my husband. She still does. So that's the one thing I want to tell you, that she is a doctor and she does know her stuff. And let's get to some of the questions. Naima, you wanted to talk about uh, depending on the darkness of your skin was one of your questions. How much should we worry about getting in the sun?
Yeah, and blackness has so many different shades of it, and like with my face, I soak up sun. Like I can be in the sun for maybe 30 minutes, and I'm 5 shades darker. But I think only one time in my life I've ever been sunburned, and that was when in a severe situation, extreme hot uh, weather and hours and hours and so forth, dehydrated and all that. But in terms of sun itself, when I soak up sun, it makes me glow, and so I know that there are lighter shades of people and they may tend to burn. Does burning, does sunburn happen to darker people is common, and do we really need sunscreen?
So the answer is absolutely yes. So my cousin, who's about your shade, lived in Puerto Rico, and she was like, "Girl, the sun is no joke. This is not upstate New York, so we need to protect our skin down here." But the thing to realize is that when you look at ultraviolet light, there's two types of light that we're concerned about, right? So one is UVA and one is UVB. So UVA is what we call like the UV aging type of light that actually causes deep damage into your skin. So it goes deeper into your skin, but causes more damage that's deeper down. And it is the light that actually is responsible for wrinkles and sagging and the marks that we get as we age. Well, UVB light is more at the surface, and it's the one that causes the burning of the skin. But really what you need is what's called broad spectrum coverage or broad spectrum protection to protect against both, because yes, we do actually burn, and while it might take a little bit more for us to burn because we do have that natural melanin which does protect our skin, the fact is that dark skinned folks have a natural SPF or a natural sun protection factor of around 15, but even with that they recommend that we should have a protection of 30. So even with that, we do need to have some type of protection, both against the burning as well as against the aging.
I know one of the things that I read when my kids were young, I read a lot of things about skincare and skin products, and I was putting sunblock on my kids from at least age 5. People were laughing at me saying, "But your kid's black. Why do they have to?" And I'm saying, well, from what I have read, anyone who's been in the sun is going to be affected by it. And a lot of times, dark skin people do not realize that they will burn underneath the skin and they don't recognize that they get sunburned.
Yes.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Barbara. And then the other thing is, like, many of us think, well, we don't get cancer. So who knows what Bob Marley died of?
Right.
Skin cancer.
Right.
Right? So we have to recognize that it's not just, the parts of our body that are visible, but it's also like our hands, our toes, our fingernails, all of that, our lips where we, oftentimes don't have melanin. All of this can make us susceptible. And so the fact is that, yes, it is true. We're less likely to get it. It is less likely to occur. But when we do get skin cancer, it is more severe, and it is usually picked up at later stages because we tend to ignore these dark marks. And then also from the perspective of just sort of aesthetics, the number one thing that patients complain of, or patients of color complain of, is hyperpigmentation. And there are a number of causes, from melasma to injuries to hormonal changes. There's a lot that can cause hyperpigmentation. But in addition to treating the underlying cause, you have to make sure that you don't put your skin on alert by exposing it to sun and making sure that you're out there without any kind of sun protection. So whether it's from acne or whatever's going on with your skin that's causing dark marks, you have to wear sun protection to protect your skin.
Well, I know my oldest daughter had some kind of condition with her skin. She has very sensitive skin. She doesn't even use soap.
Yeah.
And when she was treated, she had a doctor from Brazil who said, you've got this condition. She named what it was. She says that Brazilians get, which was really surprising. And she recommended some type of ointment for her that was not really available in the United States. So I'd like to know, how can women of color find things suitable that they aren't going to find on the market.
Yeah. So that's so they can buy my stuff, but also, so Cheryl's like,
Yeah.
here's the link. Well, but here's the thing that we have to be careful of. There's a lot of colorism in our community, and there's also a lot of colorism in other communities as well. So especially outside of the US, there are a lot of issues with creams and lotions and potions that are sold to us that are designed to lighten the skin. And some of those actually contain skin bleach that really can be damaging to the skin, as well as there's been some reports, particularly in the American Southwest, where people were coming in from Latin America and buying and bringing in products and then selling them in local stores that were designed to lighten the skin, but they had mercury in them. And so there were some reports of mercury poisoning from skin lightening products. So basically, I am a fan of transparency so that we all know what it is that we are putting on our skin and in our bodies in general. And so while there may be some challenges with products that are available overseas, what you want is to make sure that it comes from a place and a space where they have the same kind of oversight that requires transparency in terms of labeling, that requires clinical trials in order to be able to make a claim, that requires the manufacturer adheres to certain standards in terms of cleanliness and manufacturing standards in general. So so I'm actually pretty cautious with a lot of products from overseas unless I know specifically where they're from. I will say that a lot of products that are made in Europe, and when I first launched Absolute Joy, actually my manufacturer was in Europe because the European standards are actually higher than the American standards in terms of manufacturing and in terms of ingredients. So like a lot of skin bleaches that are approved for use here in the United States, you can't get within Europe. So it really very much depends upon what country you're in and then what their standards are. So it's hard to say sort of universally where one can go. But the big thing is like make sure that you read your labels and that you know what it is that you're putting on your body.
Well,
How much is water affecting the types of water that you might have? Because see, now my daughter lives in China. She has lived there for 7 years. She has no issues with her skin. She still doesn't use soap, but she has no issues.
So that's an excellent observation. And it really has to do with the chemicals in the water, and not like chemicals like, you know, from a nuclear power plant or something like that, but chemicals, everyone has different, a different type of makeup in terms of the mineral structure. So if you've ever been to New York City, like the water, it's New York City, but the water comes from the mountains and it's very clean. And if you go to, like, for example, London and France, and I was in France when I was having a lot of problems. Why? Because the water there has a high calcium content. So it doesn't have an impact on your health, but it does have an impact on your skin and on the microbiome. And so a lot of people actually find, and this was something that I experienced, is whenever I was traveling, like my skin would break out. And it was because I was using different water all the time. And those slight changes in terms of the molecular structure and the minerals in the water really can have an impact on your skin, both positive and negative.
Well, one thing I wanted to know about, especially when it comes to products that are supposed to clear your skin of blemishes, and you're saying a lot of these end up being bleaching creams, and we know that in certain places people do a lot of skin bleaching,
Right.
but are there products, and of course if there are, you have them, we'll talk about that, but products that can remove things like discoloration that aren't really
Hyperpigmentation.
hyperpigmentation, and when offering these kind of products, do you need to know the particular skin color or shade of the person? Like, is it different for somebody who's lighter complected, who's darker complected? You know, when you mix your chemicals together, do you have differences in terms of what particular kind of ingredient might be needed for a darker complexion person as opposed to a lighter complexion person?
Yeah, so the real answer is it depends. And so what I mean by that is that there's a lot of focus on our skin color when we talk about skincare for melanin-rich skin. But the reality is what really sets us apart is the sensitivity of our skin and the fact that some of us have incredibly sensitive skin, some of us less so. but skin sensitivity is much more common for us. And so most hyperpigmentation is a result of some type of inflammation. And the inflammation could be acne, it could be healing from a cut, it could be hormonal changes, it could be sun damage. But usually, hyperpigmentation and dark marks is a sign of inflammation. And so, what we need to do is take an approach to our skin as to how do we keep it calm and how do we make sure that we reduce any signs of inflammation. And particularly because our skin is so sensitive, we are much more subject and likely to have inflammation when we get exposed to, different ingredients in the sun and different chemicals. And so for me, and the whole emphasis on Absolute Joy is that I really want us to be focused on skin health, because a lot of the problems, you think your skin is oily, you think your skin is dry, you think your skin is sensitive, and it's like, no, your skin is just disrupted. You have disrupted your the protective barrier of your skin, and so you need to actually focus on skin health. And I find that actually a lot of the problems that we think we have go away when we focus on just having healthy skin. I mean, that was my own experience. I had very oily skin, and so I used to strip it all the time and use really harsh things to clean it. And then my skin was like, hey sis, like you're kind of dehydrating me. And so it would like create more and more oil, and then I would get more oily, and then I would strip it away and strip it away, and then my skin would create all this oil. And then I was actually starting to get dark marks. And so because my skin was inflamed. And so then I read about rosehip oil, which is a beautiful oil. It's very calming to the skin. And I said, well, let me use that. And it's very high in vitamin C, so it helps with the dark marks. And I was very hesitant to use it because my skin was so oily and I didn't want to put more oil on my face. But what I discovered is after about a week of using this oil at night, my skin was like, that's what we've been trying to do. We've been trying to protect ourselves. We've been trying to produce more oil. And so by putting oil onto my skin stopped producing as much oil. And then it really became much more balanced.
How much does food play a part in your skin? Because you talked about your skin being irritated or what was that word you used?
Inflamed.
Inflamed.
Yeah.
And you will say things like that about certain foods cause inflammation in the body.
Absolutely right. So I've had estheticians tell me that they can tell how much sugar someone eats when they look at their skin, because sugar causes a lot of inflammation in your body. It actually binds to collagen and helps weaken collagen. So it will actually age you and age the appearance of your skin. So now let's just take it a step back though, because I am 90% vegan. I can't say I'm 100% because if you come in with some chocolate cake, I'm going to eat it. But I'm largely a vegan, largely plant-based. I always say if you go to like a lot of the medical conferences and they have all these sandwiches, like the doctors are not going for the roast beef sandwiches, they're going for the vegetarian sandwiches. And so that should tell you something. And so what we eat in terms of plant-based foods is like rich in fatty acids, which have a lot of antioxidant effects. It's very rich in certain vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, which are excellent for our skin. The B vitamins, the stuff that we get from carrots, stuff that we get from leafy greens, all of that is really, really good for our skin. And obviously water. And then there are other types of ingredients like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon. These are excellent for our body. And so it's like an overall anti-inflammatory diet that is really good. And then that does show in our skin. The things that actually do cause inflammation at the top of my list is sugar. For me, that is the bane of my existence. Look, I have my little sugar right here, right? So I know it is not easy to get rid of sugar, but it's at the top of my list. And then some people have responses to refined starches, so certain types of wheat and things like that, and corn. And also, obviously, like things like alcohol, tobacco, all of that can really causes inflammation in our body. So my big thing with Absolute Joy is that, yes, using the products on your face are really important. But as you're saying, like you can't build a house on a sandy foundation, right? You have to have a good diet. You have to sleep. You have to reduce stress in your life. And so as I talk about a non-toxic lifestyle, I think about it very holistically and say, like, in the same way that we think of we should avoid chemicals and non-toxic foods, I'm like, we should avoid non-toxic jobs. We should avoid non-toxic people. We should avoid non-toxic relationships, because all of that causes stress in our bodies that manifests on your face. And I think the best evidence of that is, think about President Obama. Like, he was in office for 8 years and you could see the stress.
Change. Oh my goodness.
They all
Great.
do. They all do age very, very,
When
very
black
quickly.
hair came out with white. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it does really have an impact. And so actually, and one of the things that we're talking about doing, if I can find the right people to partner with, is I want to create teas and adaptogenic teas that really help to reduce stress, and that invite our customers to just every night, just take a moment, make a cup of tea for yourself, sis, light a candle and wash your face. It's just 5 minutes, but just 5 minutes of taking care of yourself and centering yourself and putting all that stuff away. I think that can do so much for our health and our well-being.
I'm
What
so glad you
damage
said
does
about-
going to bed with your makeup on do?
Oh, yeah.
No, don't go to bed with the makeup on.
Yeah.
No matter how tired you are, right?
Yeah. You know,
Last night, actually, my sister had a barbecue, so I came home. I was like, oh, I just took the washcloth and I said, "Nyeh, nyeh," and that was it. And then I put my stuff on. I was like, not ideal, but I cannot go to bed with my makeup on.
yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that about the sugar, because, I'm like 90% vegan too. I'm vegetarian and don't eat meat and all that. But yesterday, I was at an event and I had 5 pieces of chocolate, and I woke up this morning face full of lumps. So I guess that was what it was from, huh?
Yeah, and it's probably the sugar, actually. It's not even, it's not, because actually pure cacao is high in antioxidants. It's excellent for you.
So now, if you should have a sugar binge, is there something you'd recommend, like you could eat to detox? You mentioned a couple of different things and spices. What would you recommend to reverse the effects of that?
Stop eating it.
Drink a lot of water.
And drink a lot of water.
How much water should people drink every day?
So they say on average it should be 1 ounce per pound.
I can't figure that out.
Okay. So
My
if you,
doctor
weigh
told me.
if you weigh 150 pounds, then that's how many? That's like 1.5 gallons.
Oh my.
It's a lot of water.
Not-
But here's the thing. So what I do is, like, we all have like our watches and our phones. I set my phone to go off every 45 minutes during the day.
Really?
And then I take 5 gulps of water.
Oh,
I do not wait until you're thirsty, because by the time you're thirsty, then you're really dehydrated. And I would challenge you all, today's Sunday, so do it this week, and you will see a difference. You will see a difference in your energy. You will see a difference in your clarity of thinking. You will see a difference in your sleep. I absolutely guarantee it. Guarantee it. Yeah.
So now, is there a difference between alkaline water and regular water? Because I got a big gallon of alkaline water. It didn't quite taste, the way I am used to water tasting, but I understand. I've been told it's healthier. But is it? I mean, what are the benefits of alkaline?
The reality is there is nothing better than our kidneys for telling us what we need and for balancing us. So if you have too much of anything, too much of salt, too much of alkaline, too much of acid, kidneys are like, I got it, sis. And that's what the kidneys are here to do. So the concept is actually homeostasis. And so the body is designed to basically just keep us right where we're supposed to be. And anything that comes in, we get too hot, we start to sweat. We get too cold, the blood starts to conserve our heat. Too much salt, too much potassium, too much whatever, our body just kind of gives us or keeps us in a sort of a certain state. And so I think that and actually the kidney is an incredibly elegant organ in terms of what it is able to do to maintain our blood, maintain the cleanliness, maintain the minerals and the chemicals and the pH balance within our blood. And so alkaline water, there's no way that any manufacturer is going to be able to come and give me something in a bottle that's better than what my kidneys know how to do. So just drink it and give your body the tools that it needs. It needs the right food. It needs a lot of fluids. It needs to be rested. And I think, and actually, I was just thinking, I'm going to make August the month where we're going to talk a lot about sleep, because I think that we do not spend enough time sleeping. We are not serious enough about sleep. There's research that shows people who are chronically sleep deprived are more likely to have dementia, Alzheimer's disease, that people who are sleep deprived
Diabetes.
when they're driving, they are as impaired as if they were drunk. And so sleep is so important to our health and our well-being.
At least two of us here are woefully sleep deprived, and I'm not as bad as I used to be. Naima's the absolute worst. She never sleeps. But you
I
know
really
what?
don't.
And I
No,
used to when
I'll go to bed if I'm going to do.
yes,
Yeah.
but I don't sleep well, and I never have. And it started when Sarah first started going to school, because I worked nights, and then I would have to get up, and I worked till 2:30 in the morning. So I still had to get up by 7. So I was always sleeping maybe 4 hours a night. And that is what I think triggered my diabetes.
Yeah,
And
I
so
agree.
I just assumed, okay, everybody's always tired. And it wasn't until I went to a doctor and she asked how I was doing. And I said, I'm tired, but isn't everybody tired? Like that was normal. And she said, no, that's not normal. But we're so used to always being sleep deprived. I still can't sleep like a full 8 hours nonstop. I still will wake up every few hours.
Yeah, it's an issue. I don't have the best sleep habits, and I will own it. But it is something that I'm working on. And like, every year, one of my New Year's resolutions is to like get 8 hours of sleep. And I will do it maybe for like a week or two. And it's life changing. It's
Yeah.
life changing. I always say, listen, 8 hours of sleep, 1 ounce of water per pound, 10,000 steps, 5 fruits and vegetables. Those will transform not just your health, but your life.
Well,
Very basic.
I think I have the steps and maybe the fruit, but the water I know I'm deficient on, and the sleep I'm definitely deficient on. And it might be, you mentioned that drinking more water can help you sleep. I don't even, my sleep pattern is so odd because I will try to stay up and read, and so I don't really officially ever go to bed, and so the lights are on, and I got my phone or iPad or something in the bed with me trying to read, and so I might actually get 2 hours of restful sleep a night, which is probably bad, and then
Probably. You think?
She's walking around into doors, walking into walls.
yeah, and my daughter has told me that I shouldn't have any electronics in the room.
She's right.
Yes.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
bad
No,
at that
no
too.
phone, no computer.
Yeah.
But I'm always better when I leave the phone downstairs. I do sleep better because I tend to wake up and then check my phone.
Check your phone.
Yes.
So here's the thing, though, that the light from the phone is meant to look like daylight. So you're sending signals to your brain that it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's literally the worst thing that you can do. And so in general, what they say is you want to try to give yourself an hour to try to come down. And so all of this artificial light is incredibly bad for us and incredibly bad for our sleep cycle. So if you plan to be in bed, and asleep by 11, you need to unplug at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Read a book.
Right.
Read a book.
Oh yeah.
Don't read it on the little tablet. Just read a regular book. Don't watch TV.
Yeah, I do all the bad things. Watch TV till it's watching me. I'll read on my tablet, even if they put the night light on. It's still,
Nope.
it's still
Much
illuminated.
Nope.
So yes.
So here's what I would ask you all to do, because you're sisters, right? So everyone's competitive. Challenge each other for just 14 days.
14 days.
Yeah, just
Which
14
I can do
days.
because I'm going on vacation tomorrow.
Yeah, but then you can really focus on it. But challenge each other to say not even how many hours of sleep, but to have a routine. Set the routine, and you can decide. It doesn't matter if it's 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. It doesn't matter as long as you are in bed every night and able to give yourself the space to have that sleep and take 2 hours. So if you decide, Naima, that it's going to be midnight, then challenge each other to have that 2 hour window where you can unplug and bring it down. So going back to what I was saying about how, I want to create like candles and teas for people to take care of themselves as part of the wind down. Right? That's part of the evening routine. That's part of let me just create a space. Let me lock the bathroom door. Nobody bother me. Nobody ask me for anything. Nobody tell me, what they need. This is my time. It is only 30 minutes. I deserve 30 minutes every single day. And it can be like that candle, listen to some music, wash your face.
Yep, I like that routine. Well, we got to take a break, quick break. But when we come back, I'd like to talk specifically about like certain products that you have and what specific things they do for the skin.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll be right back. So if you're watching online, feel free to write in questions or comments for our guest, Dr. Ann Beal. We'll be right back.
The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with Zelda Speaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Wellbeing with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
All right, we're back. So now I've got one more question about the skin and
I have to ask. That's exactly what I was going to ask.
They kind of run in our family. They sort of start appearing as we age.
After 50.
Yeah, and I met a plastic surgeon some years ago, and I guess his method was like you have to scrape them off.
I've had that done.
But is there a way they can be dissolved, and if they are removed, do they tend to grow back? And is there something that you can do to prevent them? Some internal thing you can do.
Sunscreen.
Okay.
Sunscreen. So a lot of people call those the Morgan Freeman spots, and so they're actually pretty common among us. And I don't know if you all can tell in that screen, like I'm starting to get some of them. I'm playing them off like they're freckles, but this is really, what we get as we age. And the reality is that with a lot of moles, we actually, if they are getting big enough that they're bothering us from an aesthetic perspective, then it's always worth having a clinician take a look at it, because you want to make sure that it actually is not anything more than just a benign mole. And also, like, I know there's a lot of tea tree oil, aloe vera, apple cider vinegar. There's a lot of things out there. They don't work. They don't work. You can get an infection. Don't do it. Just let a surgeon, like, this is not the prairie days. You can go see a doctor and just let them like remove it if it's really bothering you that much. But I mean, one of the things that I'm really focused on with Absolute Joy is that I think that there's a real beauty that comes with age. And I think that there's a real freedom that we have. And I think that there's a real maturity and poise. And part of what we want to do is not be an anti-aging skincare line, but what we want to do is celebrate age and celebrate the maturity that comes with age. And frankly, personally, I feel that if you look at most non-Western cultures, whether it's from Africa or Asia or other places, they actually celebrate people as they become more and more mature. And it's only within a European context that we are trying to fight age. And I'm like, why fight age? It is a blessing, because the only way to avoid age is to die young, right? So we don't want to do that, right? What we want to do is really fall into our maturity and fall into who we are. And I find that, look, I just turned 60, just had like the big 60 birthday. And I'm finding
She's a baby.
The baby.
I'm the baby. Yeah.
Baby.
You have no idea how young 60 is until you're 6 months from 70.
Yeah, then you feel it. Yeah, then you feel it. So, but I will say, like, look, I have more weight than I did 20 years ago, more grays. I'm not as cute, but I feel better about myself and how I look and who I am than I did when I was a kid. And I look at my pictures of myself when I was like, in my 20s and 30s. I was like, she was so cute and didn't even know it. Didn't even know how cute she was.
Yeah.
With all these insecurities. And so I'm deliberate in having named the brand Absolute Joy, because we really want to take joy in who we are and in our maturity. And yes, have healthy skin and focus on aging beautifully, aging gracefully, but not fighting our skin, working with it for it to be healthy and for us to look our best.
But that makes a lot of sense. So let's say a person has, you mentioned dry skin, and I've had dry skin, and I think in times when I had oily skin, like when I was going through puberty, I was doing the wrong thing, trying to dry it out, washing with soap, and then
I did the same thing.
Astringent, witch hazel, alcohol.
Yeah.
Duracell.
And all the anti-acne stuff. So usually if you're going through that puberty period, you have the oily skin, the acne and all that. What kind of products do you have that deal with acne without drying your skin?
Right. So I was deliberate in focusing on women over the age of 35. One, because no one is. So in the beauty business in general, older women over 35 are invisible, and older women of color are profoundly invisible. So I'm very deliberate in not looking at the acne side of things, because there's already a lot of products that are on the market. With that said, one of the things that we need to focus on, no matter what our skin type is hydration, right? And that is the amount of water in our skin. And what we need to recognize is, and I heard someone say this, that I was like, it is so true. If you're thirsty and you want water, are you going to drink a glass of water or a glass of oil?
Ooh.
A glass of water. So that means that when our skin is dry, it's not the oil that you need to focus on. It is the water that you need to focus on, and bringing that into the skin. So obviously drinking it is fine. But the other thing is that we have to use ingredients that are called humectants, which help to draw water into our skin. So I'm sure you've heard of hyaluronic acid. It is used in a lot of fillers. It is a natural ingredient in our skin. It's in my toner. And a lot of the toners that are currently on the market, like my toner, are designed to, after you wash your skin is nice and moist. Then you put the toner on the skin. It is not that astringent oil that we had when we were teenagers. It is designed to balance your skin, bring it back to its pH, but then attract water because it is filled with hyaluronic acid. So you'll notice this is an ingredient which is in a lot of products, particularly for mature women. But it's not enough just to do that. So I see, like, I'm talking to a bunch of natural hair women, right? So what do? We put the water on our hair, and then we put an oil on top of it to seal in that water. And it is the same with our skin. So you have to use the hydrating ingredients that have hyaluronic acid, and then you seal it with an oil or with a moisturizer. So it's hydration plus the oil, and those two together will give you the moisture.
Now we're thinking about our faces a lot, but like I've always forever, when I take a shower, I will also put baby oil on before I get out to keep, and then after that I put lotion on. So is that a good idea to always be thinking about, keeping the oils on while you're still moist?
It's very good to use. Now, my issue with the baby oil is that, and I'm sure you've experienced that, when it gets really warm, it almost like dissolves away.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like you also want to think about things that are a little bit thicker. The thing that's having a big comeback, Vaseline.
Really?
Everybody's like,
No, it's the best thing for your feet. I know. Sometimes
Yeah,
if you put it on your heels and stuff, and then put those socks on, you know,
exactly.
then they don't have to use
Now,
it.
so, and this actually came out of the Korean beauty aesthetic, and now a lot of young girls are doing this where they will wash their face, use the humectant, use a toner that has the hyaluronic acid, and then seal their skin with Vaseline. It is called slugging. That's the term that they've given it.
Really?
And so in the
And it
wintertime,
doesn't clog the pores?
because petrolatum is molecularly too big to get into your pores.
Because I was going to ask about that, because when we were little, the routine in the wintertime, before you go out, your mother plaster your face with Vaseline. You going to school, black and shiny. And I mean, everybody had that experience. But then as I got older, I was told that Vaseline is terrible for your face because, like, Barbara said or asked, does it clog your pores? So
Yeah.
when we get this age, is Vaseline still good to put directly on your face?
You can. However, what I will say is, so I'm still prone to breakouts. And so what I find though is that when my skin is getting dry, so, again, I wash, I use the humectant, I will take the Vaseline, but then I actually take my night oil and I squirt that and I put the two of them together so it's not as thick. And I can do it for like 2 or 3 nights and sleep like that. But then I got to give my skin time to breathe. Otherwise, it will start to break out. But it's not like the kind of breakout that I used to have when I was younger. And part of that is because I also have learned how to cleanse my skin with oil. And as we know, like deserves like. And so by actually massaging oil into my skin, that's what gets into my pores and actually dissolves the oil that's deep in my pores. And so I find that actually using oil is a great way to dissolve excess oil on your skin. And so that's why I actually offer a double cleansing system that uses first an oil cleanser and then a foaming cleanser, because there's 2 types of dirt that we have. And what we want to do is clear that oil. But the best way to do that is with another type of oil.
That is so magnificent, because my daughter would be getting after me. Mom, don't use that soap on your face. This. And she's always recommending, some kind of special stuff for your face,
And so like the soap, the bar soap, horrible for your skin. Those Castile soaps, horrible for your skin, because our skin naturally has a pH of about 4.5. So our skin is slightly acidic. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Our skin is not here for us to be cute. Our skin is here to protect our body. So the best way to protect your body is to be a hostile environment to bacteria, viruses, and germs that are out there. So the way that it does it is that it is slightly acidic. And so when we're using these things that are made with alkaline, made with lye, it throws the balance way off of our skin. Our skin is happiest when it's slightly acidic, but it's also best able to do its job, which is really designed to protect us and to protect us from, all the invaders that are out here trying to get into our body. So using oil, I mean, my biggest thing with Absolute Joy has become, don't fight against your skin, work with it. Understand what your skin is trying to do. So it seems at first you're like, why would oily skin want to use oil? Your skin is producing oil to protect itself. So if you put oil on, your skin's like, okay, I got it. Hydrate your skin. All skin types work with hydration. It doesn't matter if you're oily or dry or whatever. So, and even with acne, a lot of acne is because when your skin is dehydrated, it produces oil to protect itself and to try to hold in whatever water you do have. So if your skin is hydrated, then your skin is like, fine, I don't need to produce as much oil. And so actually hydrated skin helps work against acne.
No, see, I thought that was caused by eating potato chips.
Well, I got questions about that, especially because, I have used soap periodically.
And did you come out like?
Yeah, right. But do you, Dr. Ann, do you have soaps that you create? Is that part of your products where, soap that doesn't dry the skin but moisturizes it?
Absolutely. And that squeaky clean feel that we all wanted is literally the worst thing for your skin. Because the acid mantle, which I was talking about, which is designed to protect the skin, is a very thin layer of phospholipids. It's a very thin layer of oil. So if you wipe that all away, then you have wiped away all of the protection that is on your skin. And so what you need to do then is put products back on that help to bring it back to its natural pH and help to maintain the integrity of that phospholipid barrier. So you want your skin clean, but you don't want it stripped. And so with my product, and Cheryl, I don't know, and I don't know why I am in here talking to you all without my product. Okay, I have some over here.
Oh yeah, this is
the moisturizer.
This is the moisturizing, and it's a nice color. It's got a nice color to it too. It's a sunscreen. And this is the night refining oil. I think it does. This have the retinol and the vitamin C and E in it. Yeah. And it's really nice. And I'll wash my face, and then I used to just kind of put it on, but you just put a little bit on your palm and just, rub it on your face, and I rub it in, and my skin feels so good first thing in the morning. And obviously you see my little shiny forehead. I tend to be oily anyway.
That's not shine, that's dew.
Yes.
Morning dew on your face.
But you know what? But it feels good. It feels nice and soft. And I'm not that worried about wrinkles. I mean, I'm 65. What are you?
Looks amazing.
What am I supposed to be worried about? But that's not the one thing that I have. And I know when my sisters and I have talked privately, we've talked about the little hairs and things that come out on the chin, causing hyperpigmentation. And what do you think about, waxing or those kind of things on the face, or is tweezing better, or is it just what do we do?
You don't want to look like a goat.
Yeah.
right. Shaving. Because when you pull the hair out, especially for us, because we have curly hair, right? So when the hair comes back, it's likely to like curl under and then create bumps. So what you want is to actually kind of shave it. So like, I have like my 5 hairs on my chin here. And so you want to shave it right at the surface so that they don't come back in and then, go under your skin. Anything that takes it out at the root, you run the risk that when it grows back, it's going to grow back in under your skin. And so you could do electrolysis. You can do.
Does that cause scarring?
Electrolysis?
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah, that's what I worry about, because I tend to have hyperpigmentation.
Yeah. And that's why you need to work with somebody who really knows how to work with deeper skin tones, because they have to be gentle in order to make sure that you don't get those dark marks. And then what you have to do, she's like, I got my tweezers. So you may be fortunate. Like, I don't know.
The scary thing is they're coming in gray now. None of that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh no, I'm turning into a goat.
And then also even laser is something that you can do, or and if you don't get the ingrowns, then go ahead and pluck them.
Okay. So I just clip mine with like scissors or nail clipper or something as close to the skin as possible. But it's like one that grows in that same spot. Now, what is that?
It keeps coming back.
Why is that? Is that
our hormones are changing, ladies?
Yeah.
Hormones
are changing. This one.
Welcome to menopause.
Well, when we lose it, it's got to go somewhere, right? So it goes down here. So there we have it. Erin, so you were asking about the cleanser. So what we do have is actually, and let me get you the product to show you. Hold on a second.
And of course, you can go on the website and get these products. That this is a total revelation about the water, though. I have been probably dehydrated all of my life.
Oh yeah.
And every time.
And you have no excuse, because you have good water in Chicago. Florida water is nasty. That is why we are drinking like 4 bottles of water a day to get that 64 ounces in.
And then like sometimes you'll hear about like celebrities who only use, bathe in bottled water. That's not because they're just being extra. That's because their body has gotten used to one type of makeup in terms of the minerals. And so then when they travel, it wreaks havoc on your skin if you have to change it. So so Naima, I would focus very much on hydration. So let me show you. This is this is the cleansing oil. And basically what you do is you take the oil, put it in your hand, rub it, and then massage it into your skin. and that's it. And then you'll see all of the makeup, everything. And I actually have reels that I've done on Instagram just showing how it just dissolves everything. And what's nice, and the reason why I chose sunflower oil is because it actually helps build ceramides in your skin. So that helps to hold in hydration as well. And it also has moringa, which is incredibly high in antioxidants. And so it's really good. Now, the key is most of us are like, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, rinse, right? No. Take the time, a full 60 seconds. Your face deserves it. Rub it into your skin and take the time. And as I was saying earlier, if you have oily skin, rubbing that oil in helps to dissolve the oil that's clogging your pores. So it doesn't seem to, it wouldn't make sense logically if you're like, my skin is so oily, but rubbing this in, and then when you rinse it away, your skin is so balanced and fresh. So I actually love to use this, especially in the summertime when my skin is feeling like really heavy and tacky. I rub this in, rinse it off. I am in a very happy place. Then I follow it with this, which is my hydrating gel foam cleanser. The thing about this is that it is designed to match the pH of my skin, one. Two, it has no sulfates, which strip that barrier of the skin that I was talking about. And so it is not a soap, it is a cleanser. And there's a big difference between the two. There's a big difference between the two. And then the last thing is then after you use that, and again, take the time, full 60 seconds. So I tell people, you know what? Don't even buy a new product. Just take 60 seconds. That alone will transform your skin. Then the last thing is the toner. And everyone's like, do we need a toner? Yes. Why? Because your skin is naturally pH of 4. Water is a pH of 7. So you've just finished watching it and you're like, your skin is stripped. So this has aloe vera in it, which has a pH of 4.5, 100% matches your skin. It also has some oat in it because, as we know, oat really helps calm skin. And many of us have skin sensitivities. And it has hyaluronic acid, which is that humectant that really then draws fluid to your skin. And it really helps to hold water, both from the air as well as then what you have on your skin from being cleansed. And then at night, then you follow that with the night oil, or during the day, you follow it with the moisturizer. And I guarantee it will transform your skin. Guarantee it.
Wow. Now,
Just watching that.
I like to take long showers. And you know how when you've been in the water a long time, your skin gets all crinkly and everything. What impact?
Okay,
Get out of the
you shower too long. You're turning into a little
Like a
raisin.
Yeah.
But what impact does that have on your skin? Is that hydrating your skin? Is it drying it out? What does that do?
So that phospholipid barrier is made up of oil. So what I just said about the mineral oil, if there's too much hot water, it just kind of dissolves away. That's what you're doing to that phospholipid barrier. Now, with that said, I'm the first one to like get in a hot shower, especially in the wintertime. But I know I have to be extremely diligent while my skin is still moist to make sure that I moisturize with a nice thick cream. And it can be, something even with Vaseline, like in the wintertime when your skin is really dry, don't be afraid of that Vaseline or products that have petrolatum. And a lot of people are like, oh, I want stuff that's natural. And, natural is fine. But I always say, like, what's green, organic, and natural is poison ivy, right? And so that doesn't mean that you want it on your skin. So not everything that's natural is good, and not everything that's man-made is bad. So that's a big part of us also, is that, there's so much around clean beauty and the beauty industry that's actually really marketing and working on fear. And I'm like, no, we're going to work on knowledge, and we're going to let people know and understand what they need and what they don't need, and what works and what doesn't work. So medically, you shouldn't take the long hot showers. This should be like moderate temperature. But you know what? There's like worse things that we do. If it's a choice between long hot showers and like sugar, take your long hot shower and leave the sugar alone. Like, there's worse things that we do to our bodies. And then just be diligent about hydrating afterwards.
Now, what about cocoa butter? Because I guess that's a natural thing. Is that something because I think that's the only thing I've put on my face. I hadn't put lotion, but cocoa butter seemed to smooth it out.
So cocoa butter, I love the smell of it. It is not as hydrating and
Yeah.
it doesn't protect our skin as much as the others. Some of the best, like marula oil, moringa oil,
Oh my.
shea. What is
Or
some of my
massage
favorites?
oil.
Jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is
Yeah,
probably the best one that's out there.
that's really good.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So
What about
I
castor
like
oil?
jojoba because it
You say
really
What?
does.
What'd you say,
Castor
Cheryl?
oil. They have a lot of the Jamaican like castor oils and things like that. Are those good too?
Is that
They
the
are good. They have good antioxidants. I find them to be very thick, and I
Yes.
find them to be better for your hair. But
Yeah.
if it was skin, if I had to pick just one for the skin for hydration, it would be jojoba because it actually is a wax ester. It doesn't get into our pores. It really is excellent. It really holds in moisture. It is not as high in antioxidants and fatty acids as say moringa. I think is like the magic oil. That's the magic oil. It's moringa. But and that's why in I like there's a lot of oils that I love. So that's why in the night oil I have a bunch of oils because I couldn't choose. There were so many that are good. So I have evening primrose. I have moringa. I have rose hip. I have argan oil. I have a lot of oils that are just so good. Rosehip. They're so good for your skin. So I put all of those into that night oil.
Now, what was that nasty stuff we used to have to eat? Was it castor?
Castor
Cod
oil.
liver
Castor
Castor
oil.
oil.
Okay,
Cod,
so
no,
Eat
cod
that
liver
stuff
oil.
we were making.
Oh,
Take
cod liver oil.
Cod liver
cod liver
oil.
oil. Oh, that was I did that with my kids. I guess I turned into mama. I thought that was really good for.
It's the vitamin D. It's the vitamin
Yeah.
D. And Black folks, we tend to not go out. We don't bake in the sun. And so there's many of us who have low levels of vitamin D. And there were even some studies which asked the question as to why some African Americans were more susceptible to COVID. And there were some thoughts that it might be related to having lower vitamin D levels. So vitamin D helps with your energy. It helps you fight viruses. And African Americans are much more likely to have issues with low vitamin D levels. So the castor oil helps, or just take the pills. So
Cod liver oil.
Yep.
Cod liver oil.
Yes, the cod liver oil. Yes.
cod liver oil. That's it.
Cod liver oil, the
Take
green,
the pills. Take the
the
vitamins.
castor oil for your hair.
Take
Yeah.
Take the tablets. Take the tablets.
Yeah, because we used to have to have a big spoonful of that
Tablespoon.
every night before bed.
Yes.
And but you know what? We didn't get colds. We hardly
That's
ever
true.
got colds.
That's true.
When our dog got pregnant, she got it. She had 8
Yeah.
healthy puppies.
Yeah.
My mother gave everybody who walked in that house cod liver oil at night,
Yep.
and
Yep.
everybody was healthy.
Yep. So like during COVID, I had my entire family taking vitamin D supplements.
Vitamin D. Now, is there, especially like with myself, vegetarian, not eating meat and everything, and I know protein is necessary for good skin health and all of that. Are there some foods that are rich in protein that are non-meat that you
Oh, there's plenty. And so the thing is not is and so people really underestimate the amount of protein in plants, and they actually also overestimate the amount of proteins in things like eggs, right? So eggs don't have as much protein as you would think. And people are like, oh, I want a good, meaty breakfast. It's like, nah, you don't need it. The key is not just the amount of protein, but that you want complete protein. So as you probably know, there are 21 amino acids, and there are a number of amino acids that we as humans are not able to produce. Most of the amino acids come in. We're able to, if we have an imbalance, remember I was talking about that concept of homeostasis, that our body keeps us right where we need to be. So if we have too much of one type of amino acid, our body's like, okay, and this is the job of the liver, can say, okay, you got too much of this, but not enough of that, so I'm going to make more of that. But there are certain set of amino acids called essential amino acids, and these are the ones that we are not able to produce. So these are the ones that we have to pay attention to, making sure that we eat enough of them. And in addition, we have to think about what's called a complete protein, which has all 21 of the amino acids. So a lot of the vegetarian food combinations provide that. So for example, quinoa, which is that grain, it is one of the few vegetarian sources of complete protein. Seitan, which is made with gluten, protein. But if you mix it also then with lentils, brown lentils, you have a complete protein with those. If you beans and rice is one of the famous complete protein combinations. Macaroni and cheese, complete protein combination. So there's a lot of protein that's out there. And again, it's not just about the amount of protein, but making sure that it is a whole protein. So like I'm now learning how to make seitan. And one of the things that I learned how to do is that I had to knead in lentils, brown lentils in particular, when I make it, because then that makes it a complete protein.
Wow, that is great. Well, we got to go, but this has really been very, very educational. I am. So
yes, you're welcome. You know what? She was my doctor first, my daughter's doctor first.
Okay,
So
we'll
you all
let
are
you take
welcome.
credit.
But I've been a big fan of hers for 20 some years.
But I see.
I love it. Thank you. Well, come and visit us at Absolute Joy. I mean, I'm really about knowledge and making sure, as I said, that our customers know what works and what doesn't from a knowledge base. And so I blog, we talk about issues. Follow us on Instagram. It's all Absolute Joy on all of the social, and come and join the conversation.
All right. And go to AbsoluteJOI.com.
Buy the products.
Get your products and have beautiful skin. Like
And
all
hydrate.
of us who are over 60.
Hydrate, ladies.
Well, thank you so much. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. Follow us, 3 Black Moms. Until next time, I'm Naima.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. And we have Dr. Ann Beal. We
So 4 Black
are
moms.
4 Black moms.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.